Coming back to another episode of Ferris Out Loud, we are talking about a couple different things. One of our first topics is actually healthcare. Very interestingly enough, 9M is actually diminishing soon, and it's kind of a unique thing that a lot of lower cost living children especially are going to not benefit in the future, and it's a very interesting topic. Personally, I have been grateful to still be on my parents' health care, luckily, because praise my parents for having very good jobs. And hopefully in the future I can benefit when I graduate and find myself some health care benefit. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I think it's important that younger children in low-income families can receive the help that they need, and decreasing the spending and lessening the funding for it is kind of sad that those kids won't receive as much help that they need.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who has lost their insurance once and then was able to get it back, it is a really scary situation to be in. Yeah. Especially for me, like having type 1 diabetes, like that was something that was like super scary. So and I got that as a kid. So if I was put in that same situation, I kind of feel for them, and I hope that they're able to get another form of insurance.
Did it take long for you to get onto your new insurance?
It was about a month of like preparing, and you have to collect a whole bunch of information, and that was very stressful, especially because that was during college, and so that was something that I was like already dealing with a lot of stuff, and then getting that back. So it was definitely something that was hard, but at the same time, I'm very thankful for having insurance now.
Going off of what you said, Josh, like you're so thankful that your parents have good jobs, and it's so hard now because college is so expensive that not everybody has the ability for parents to have good jobs. And I'm still on my parents, so I'm really thankful that they were able to go to college and get good jobs because I have epilepsy, I have extremely expensive medication. So once that expires, I'm kind of nervous. Will I be able to have health care that pays for that and stuff like that? So these kids, I can't imagine going through something like that at such a young age.
Let alone rolling off of that a little bit. Could you imagine not like getting a job after college, after your loans start, and then not being able to get the health care? It's just like a giant kind of snowball effect coming, and it could really like hurt a lot of people. And it doesn't, and like you said, again, like if your parents aren't well off and you're in college, then it's just, again, it's just constantly rolling up, and it could be a lot of money in the end, and it could be really dangerous. I mean, Lucas, that's very scary, it seems like.
Yeah, no, I hope these people are able to find some means of insurance, because it is something that I would never wish anybody to have to worry about, especially for their kids.
Yeah, I had optic neuritis when I was 16 years old, and I went to the hospital for a week, and it was all covered because of our insurance that we had, and if it wasn't covered, then I don't think I would have been able to get the types of treatment that I had.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've been fortunate. I've never had anything really huge in my life where I needed to do that. I went to the hospital once for stitches after a rugby game, but that's completely different from what you guys are going towards, and it's very scary. So I mean, what happens after that point with the low income families? Like, what can they do exactly besides bank on something?
I don't think people realize how much insurance actually costs.
Right.
Private insurance especially, so if you don't get a job that includes insurance for you, and if you have a whole family, it's really expensive, and most people can't afford it unless they have a really good job.
Yeah, and that was the deciding factor in like what I wanted to go to like as a career, because I knew if I were to do anything, probably the biggest priority is to make sure I can get good insurance
For your
that can cover all of my medication.
I couldn't imagine living paycheck to paycheck and then adding insurance to that and it coming right out of that paycheck when that's what you rely on. That would be so hard.
And actually, that we learned a lot about that actually in human resources as well. Benefits are becoming more of a dire thing than actually base pay because of stuff like that. Because if it's getting taken away from lower income families because of just a bunch of other stuff, actually just taking care of your children in general, there's like daycare services that can be taken out for the different benefits, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's just one of them that is actually a key essential to the different compensation in human resources. But just to roll into a different topic off of there, also a big thing that a lot of people have been talking about is the Trump administration and weakening contraception What do you guys think on that? Because I'm not going to start this one off.
That's kind of an interesting topic to bring up. I think a lot of things about it, but I think it's not as dire as the healthcare for the children, but it is dire because if you think of third world countries and things like that who don't have contraceptives, and things like infant mortality rises and poverty rises, it's not something that America is in shape to take on because of the debt that we're in. So it is another thing that we need to pay a large amount of attention to. It's just not something that we can afford to put on the back burner right now.
I agree with that. I think being a female, you definitely can take on all of that more because not having it offered as like prevalent to us, it's kind of not scary, but you don't want to start your life off too early because we're still young and you want to be able to finish college, get your degree, have a career before you want to start your family, and I feel like that's a choice to have.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Do you guys have any comments?
That's hard to jump into something like that from, I mean, I'm not trying to be biased here, but it's harder to do it from a male perspective because it's not it's not our choice in the end because what happened, I mean, guys should be responsible for helping pay for some of that burden even with that coming about. So like if they can't afford it, they should, the male counterpart or should help reimburse it in a way, I should say. So like say you can't afford it, so I throw like $50 in and maybe help towards that. And I think it's both the duties of the relationship slash whatever you want to call it, fling, marriage, et cetera, off of it to help benefit for that because I don't think anyone wants a child unexpected.
Right.
It's really hard. Some people are like, it's my unexpected gift, but I don't want a kid right now in college. I definitely don't.
Also, if it's not provided to you, women are going to take that into their own hands. They're going to hurt themselves more than what they are going to have at the institution that they're going to.
Right.
Like, that's scary and that's very
agree.
sad. But
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm gay, so I can't say that like, oh, like I don't want to get someone pregnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I can't speak from that perspective, but I definitely see that when you like don't have something given to you, because like it, and especially over like religious reasons, how it could be kind of offensive.
Yeah.
And if it's weakening and we don't have it, it's just another cost that a lot of people can't afford. So
And
having
females
a
already
kid.
have to pay.
Yeah.
Females already have to pay so much for things that they really can't
Control,
control,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
I just that is always a big issue. Yeah, exactly.
oh God.
And so like we don't have to pay all of those things that you guys have to pay for something that really like you can't like do anything about. It's just normal. And so I don't know. So I agree with you guys.
It kind of rolls into the whole concept too. After that point too, if you do have a kid, then it goes into low-income health care, and then it's just again rolling
It's
snowball.
snowball.
It's gonna keep coming, and we can't do much about it at that point. Really interesting topic though, and again, sorry I didn't say as much, but it's kind of harder from the other perspective because you know there's some bigots out there being like, oh screw them, they don't need it, but like at that point, you can't say that. I'm not in the shoes of
Exactly. And I feel
Nicole
like
or
that's
Allie, like that's not fair or any female. That's not fair at all. Kind of to jump on a different train, we all kind of jumping around this show, but that's okay. The new Star Wars trailer. No, it's kind of a little different, but you guys big Star Wars fans? No?
I've enjoyed the new Star Wars. You don't even have to watch the old one to enjoy the new one.
Yeah, and like Spock is probably one of the greatest like characters that I've ever experienced in any movie, and so I just think like to really highlight him is no, I've never watched Star Wars. So I don't have any idea. Yeah, to look back into the camera, I'm gay. No I'm kidding. I've never gotten into it.
They do have CGI, and I think that's kind of a cool thing that they make people look
It
human.
scars me. Star Wars scars me because being named Lucas, like people are always like, Luke, I am your father. And like, so I really like, it's always kind of kept me away from watching this.
Purely because of that line alone.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I've never watched them, so I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this statement, but I don't know the difference between like Star Wars and Star Trek. So.
Oh, I mean that's pretty common. Like surprisingly, like people are like Star Wars, what? And it's but then like how do you not know the difference? But there's in the like fictional world, like there's kind of a lot of difference really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, let's watch the trailer for it.
yeah, a
If
little
you
bit.
guys haven't seen any of the old ones, you can appreciate things like this now because it's so much better quality looking, and the actors look more awesome.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they use Yoda was a puppet at one point. Remember that?
Really?
Yeah, like in the old movies they used him as a puppet. So it's
Wow.
like
Scary looking. I did not know that. That's interesting.
yeah. So what technology has come about from it? I mean, you can see it. It's incredible, honestly. The change and what they're doing completely with it. I mean, the people who are putting this on can probably like vouch for the best TDP majors. They do this stuff a lot. I mean, like they're great people, but I don't think to this extent. But you know, again, this is what they're going into, and people like that are the reason that movies like this are just getting better and better the next step up. I was gonna say and like Nicole said too, just to comment. You don't have to watch the old movies too, because there's a bunch of new actually characters. There will be some references you wouldn't get, but still rolling into each other. It's pretty intense and it's pretty cool.
It looks awesome. I'm so excited.